Liverpool versus everybody. What's going on, people? Yeah, as the title says, still thinking about the Watford game because it's important to really talk about that match in the second half and how professional and mature that it was actually. Knowing that in years past, it's a game that we lose and or draw. We've seen that quite recently. Speaking of last season, but you know, in that second half, we really just took that game over. And there's a real highlight there in the second half in the opposition's box. Montaja, what's up? Where Firmino nutmegs Dini, gets through two or three guys, and Gini's over there as well, kind of pumping the crowd up. And you need moments like that in a game like that. And I think Liverpool fans for so long have seen us struggle with these teams that sit back, low block, banks of four, park the bus, whatever you want to call it, and we get impatient because in years past it goes on to the 60th, 70th, 80th mark, and we just don't get a goal from it. Thank you, Montaja. But in these games, I think we need to learn to be a bit more patient. And we talk about Henderson and his back passes and side passes. Look, against those kind of teams that set up that way, you're going to see a lot of that because we have to recycle. Thank God we have defensive players who can make passes maybe better than Hendo can make, and see the field from a different angle. If you're playing a center back, yes, you still see what's in front of you, but you see the game differently than a midfielder would see it. Whether it be a defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, a wide midfielder, whatever the case may be, you see the game differently. So I don't really mind that from Henderson. But then again, although I'm not a really serious stats guy, I'm more over the eye test, and I'm glad I saw the game over. Again, I think people were just a bit too harsh. He had the most passes forward, believe it or not. I think maybe the most passes next to Van Dijk. So again, I think people for too long are just looking for something more from Henderson that we just don't. This is what Henderson is, and I think by and large we benefit from who he is. And again, as a Liverpool fan, personally, I've come to the conclusion that I got to support whoever's putting a red shirt on. Klopp obviously values Henderson, so I'm going to stick behind it until he's not in our team anymore. And so at the same time, I think he's got to be better and more mature as a seasoned veteran. You don't lose, you don't bottle the game like that. The first foul to me was a bit harsh. Isaac's success is basically pulling Henderson's shirt. But when you have the ball, you're attacking player, you're going towards the goal, you're not really getting much joy in the game. The call will go for you, and that's what happened. He was just a victim of that. Wrong place, wrong time. At the same time, the way they were showing the game here in the States, at least, is that ref was looking for an opportunity to send Henderson out the game. Henderson was very chatty, probably used some swear words in there. Every time the camera showed him looking at the ref, there was this death stare, and so he gave him every reason he needed to send him off the game. That's a different ref, it's a different game, different player. Maybe you don't have that arguing, the back talk, whatever. He probably doesn't get the red, but I think he was already on the ref's list of players to that he didn't like, particularly like in that game, and so that's what happened. But also, I think Klopp probably waited too long to take him out, which I think he alluded to in the post match press conference. But again, very professional performance. Let's talk about Firmino. Listen, for a long time we've been saying we got to see more from him, and I said coming into this game that I want to see more confidence from him and the realization within him to say, look, this is what Klopp wants. Maybe it's not what I particularly want. I kind of like being back at the kind of top of what we do. But you could see in that game he was quietly very, very good. Not even quietly, really. And someone said it in the live when I went live. I didn't catch it in the first game, but that's why you watch it again, second set of eyes, knowing we won the game. You can kind of analyze the game a bit more. And he was at the center of every goal we scored. Obviously, the one that he scored, the first goal, he was kind of the hockey assist guy who passed it to Mane. Mane then put it on to Salah. And speaking of that goal, Foster had been, I think it's his name, the goalkeeper for Watford, had been great all game. And to not save that one seemed a little odd. But again, in those games, as much as you need patience, you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of fortune. And nothing lucky about the shot. The shot was true. It was strong enough, obviously, to get past the keeper, so it was good. I don't want to take anything away from that passage of play to get the goal, but at the same time, the fact that he'd been stopping almost everything we did, and that's what happens against Liverpool. We play these teams that goalkeepers that are mediocre to okay, maybe not that great, but they have these world-class matches against Liverpool. So there we were again, Foster saving everything in that first half, and it seemed like a game that we were going to have to pinch something like that, and we did it. And once we got that, the second goal came, the third goal came. So again, we're looking at a team that once we score a goal, you pretty much know we've got the game, and that's very, very comforting. It's very, very reassuring to be following a team where you know that the defense is the least of your problems. Especially a goalkeeper like that, and him making that save against Pereira. That's going to go down. This game in general is going to go down as a very, very essential 3 points, depending on how the season ends, of course. But it's games like that you win, and you feel like you look back at that Watford game and say, "Wow, way to come out in that second half and really finish that game because Watford are a tough team. And that's the other thing I want to say. We talk about Liverpool and this mental toughness, but also physical. And Watford were always going to bring this tough kind of battering kind of football, especially with Deeney up front, guys like Capu and Decore in the midfield. And Liverpool didn't go hiding. We didn't run away from the physicality. We were really, really tough in there. Obviously, Henderson gets sent off, and I think again he bottled that and lost a little bit of control in that game. Loss is cool, but by and large, we were up for the challenge, and we all knew going into that game of how challenging that can be. So defensively, though, again, I mean, the mistake that the keeper makes in that first half, Becker, where he passes the ball up to I think Firmino, whoever that was there, it might have been Lovren. It's not. Again, we're blessed, and this here's the twofold thing because I'll talk about this with Van Dijk as well. These guys aren't lazy; they're just ultra confident in themselves, and sometimes it comes off as like they're not going 100% or whatever, but they can pull these things off with ease most times. In that situation, if that's Karius, if that's Mignolet, or any other keeper in the last 5 to 10 years, we probably suffer and get a goal there, and that right away changes the game. It gives Watford a lot of momentum. It gives them confidence, and so the fact that we were able to, okay, we made a mistake, brush it off, keep going. Again, it's something that you really go into every game banking this team to win, simply because the defense will keep you in games, and even the games we've lost outside of the Premier League, whether it be the cup competition against Chelsea, whether it be the loss to Napoli. I think the Red Star game is a aberration. I don't think that's going to happen too many times. That's probably the worst we've looked. I wouldn't say under Klopp, but I'll say in this season so far. That's not going to happen a lot, if ever again. And so, the idea that we can always be in a game based on our defense is really good because you got to believe again if you're willing to be patient against these teams that sit back, the goals will come. And once they come, as you can see, it fills us with confidence that we can get more goals. So again, just really, really proud of that second half and how we were able to turn the table. And again, we have to just, it sounds like a cliche now, everyone's saying it, but it's true. We have to focus on ourselves. We can't worry about what other teams are doing, which names I won't mention. I think we all know who that is because I think Liverpool fans for too long, um, allow City to live in their head rent free. And I just said the name of the team as I said I wouldn't, so that's a lie. But, I just think each game at a time. I don't think Liverpool are going to win or lose too many games this season in the Premier League, if at all. And I know that's crazy to say. I'm basically saying we're going to go undefeated. But again, if we treat these games how we've been treating them, we can get a lot of points this season. And I think if we lose one, two, maybe post that, I just don't see it any more than that. And again, we're going to need to be that good because of how tight the table is. So just really proud of the team. Just wanted to come back and get my feelings based on watching the game a second time. Not going to go too deep into every goal, but did want to harp on the defense, continue to just congratulate them. And again, you don't have a guy like Gomez, and in years past, seeing Lovren in that team, people are panicking. But Lovren was up there for me. I said yesterday, man, the match, after seeing the game again, I had to give it to Firmino. And I think even Van Dijk is very close, especially in that second half, because the first half is really just, you kind of throw that away. You're really basing it on the second half till the end of the game. And so I think those two guys, I said Lovren, I think he's still in that group of guys you can give it to as far as man of the match. I thought he came in and fit perfectly. It wasn't like we missed Gomez at all or anyone else in that defense. So, again, the save from Allison at that point in the game is big. That's a highlight of the game. And I think, again, in the second half, when Firmino and Gini, respectively, just found a ways to keep the ball at their feet, getting through defenders who were hounding them. Those are moments, and again, we didn't score right after those moments necessarily, but there were moments that kind of kick-started this kind of continued fight and belief in the team, and I think you can't really poo-poo those moments, and you have to look at them as being highlights. So again, we'll look back on this game, look at the goals, how we scored them. I think when we play that 4-2-3-1 again against those low block teams, we have to just be patient. The goals will come. We have to be patient, and I think against teams that are playing more open, like PSG, which I'll get into tomorrow. I'm not going to get too much into the PSG game, but once you have that understanding in the team, that patience, not these long shots from 30 yards out like Coutinho used to do, which aren't necessarily bad because you can get a ricochet, you can get a ball off the post, and there can be a poacher's goal where a guy can just tap it right in off the keeper. But I prefer this more labored approach where you have to just work through it. You got to fight. You got to slug through it, and believe that you can get the goal. And we did that. So. See, Muntaha says, to be honest, you have a great football analytical skills. Keep doing the great work. Thank you, Muntaha. I appreciate that, man. It feels good coming from you, knowing that you know the game that well. We just here, man. Just a humble channel, man. We Don't have a lot of followers, don't have a lot of views, but that's okay. We keep coming on and just talking about football because I love the game. But I'll save the PSG stuff for later for tomorrow. There's a lot to get into that, but yeah, just really proud, really proud of this team. And I think the people, most people can't have the max amount of happiness, I guess, because there's that other team that continue to just steamroll guys, and the goal difference is a joke at this point. But let's focus on Liverpool. Let's take each game as it comes, because that's all we can do anyway. But yeah, let's get ready for PSG, which should be an amazing game there in Paris, and we can move on to Everton and all the other games. It doesn't get any easier after this. It doesn't get any easier. It's still going to be tough. And we're still that team that other teams want to knock out. It's not just that team at the top of the league. There's other teams that really want to knock us out and give us that first blemish in the Premier League, that first loss or a tough draw, whatever the case may be. But as long as we stay focused on what we're doing, keep getting the points we can get them, keep performing well professionally, especially against teams when we know it's going to be tough, then that's all I can really ask from this team. So thank you for the people who are in here. Looks like it's about 4 now. Appreciate that. Muntaha, man, thank you for coming through, showing love. And I will see you guys tomorrow to speak more about the PSG game.